Day 6 arrows. All right. Well, I got these in a couple months ago and I've been testing them. So I actually bare shaft tuned 3 different point weights to 3 different arrow lengths and was able to get some really good flying arrows with broadheads. I believe they're 100% carbon and they're supposed to be 0.001 straightness. I bought a dozen 32-inch arrows to cut myself just to see how they do. And when I pulled them out of the tube and spun test just the carbon, I can say that not all of them looked 0.001. What I ended up having to do was cut either side of the arrow or one side of the arrows because I did find some wobblers. Now, I did end up with 9 really good spinning arrows with broadheads. I do have 3 that are not perfect. Either it was on the knock end or the outsert half out end, and I'm not sure if it was due to human error, the carbon and imperfections in that, or maybe one of the outserts here was bent. Who knows? But I'll show you what those spun out to be. I actually ended up replacing the nocks on mine to the Deep 6. The ones that come with them are the Easton G nocks in the small groove, which don't really fit my compound very well, and I don't think they're as durable. Here is one of the arrows I found that did not spin perfect. You can see the wobble on that side. Not great. Now here's one with the knock end that I found that didn't spin great. Little wobbly. So not too bad, but we're running at about 75%, which is better than most arrows. And the ease of having to put these things together, that was a plus. I do think these arrows are going to give Gold Tip and Easton a run for their money, especially in the durability category, and the quality is really up there too. Something I really liked about them were the thickness of the walls of the carbon. Now I have a Easton Axis here, and we'll just compare. Day 6 on the right, Easton Axis. I mean, we're talking close to double the thickness. The other thing I noticed was that they are labeled a ultra micro diameter arrow. They turn out to be pretty much the same size. My 250s turn out to be the same size as a Rampage by Black Eagle, which is just considered a small diameter, and we'll look at them real close here. So if you buy maybe a 350 spine or 400 spine, maybe they are going to be closer to something like a Platinum Pierce over here or a Victory Vap. They're just, you can see even the true micros, the 250s are not really close to that. Here's one of the really good spinning arrows. So I just have a mechanical on this right now. It's what I had up here, but I did get these to fly great with big long fixed blades like the Magnus Stinger. I really think that probably has to do with the fact that these are really heavy arrows too. I think that they just drive that thing. Instead of the broadhead dominating, you have the fletching and the weight of the carbon taking over. When I put these together, I just used a arrow squaring device that I got off eBay, just threw them together, followed the directions, and did it fairly quickly. There was no lining up of the insert and the collar and all that. It just put together, and I let the system do the work for me, which is what I was really wanting to test here and see realistically how many arrows I would end up that were perfect. We'll get to the components here and then the durability test. These are all glued up with the Day 6 epoxy, and when I did the durability test, I did use Pine Ridge insert glue for those because I was tuning and testing So I didn't want to open the little packet of Day 6 epoxy when I wasn't sure what air length I was going to use yet. So I saved that for later, but I will say it did not affect the durability at all. The newer ones I did notice have grooves on the inside. You can see the machining in there. That's for epoxy. So that's supposed to hold it on the shaft a little better. And you can see the micro threading on the half out here, which that half out is an inch long. So that's gonna stick out from the shaft is 1 inch. There's a little lip on the inside of these. They screw into each other, and when you put them on the end of the arrow, it just makes sure everything is lined up. So when you glue these collars on, there's no marking and making sure you're gluing the collars and the inserts in a certain way. They just fit perfect. I think the system that comes with this is really good. I mean, they've addressed everything that you need to with these arrows, and it's the best half out system I've ever seen. These are the 100 grain, because they're the middle of the road, and the steel looked like it was probably going to be stronger than the aluminum. You're not supposed to just be able to unscrew these anytime you want and screw in another one. For testing, yes, but once you figure out everything, it's all going to need to be epoxied on. There will be a very small gap between the carbon and the collar. That disappears once you get epoxy in there. One other note on this arrow build is that I did get all the arrows to weigh within 1 grain of each other except 2 arrows. I did have to weigh and mix and match the collars and half outs to make that happen. I do think these are a really good arrow. I just want people to have a realistic expectation of what they're gonna get when they buy them off the website, build them themselves. Right, now the fun part, durability test. I'm gonna be using my 65-pound Hoyt PowerMax. Seems like a fair poundage to use. It's not ridiculous and it's not super light. It's just kind of in the middle of the road at 65 pounds. All right, we're gonna slam this thing against this wall. Here it is. No damage. As expected. Nothing. Nothing on the knock side. My pin knock popped out just a bit. But knock's golden too. Let's do it again. All right, stuck in the wall. What? Doesn't look damaged. I think my glue job came off, yeah. So I didn't use the Day 6 epoxy just because I was doing a quick job here, but let's see. Well, tried some vice grips, didn't work. I barely got it to budge out, but it's not wanting to move. So that's where it looked like it slipped, right there. But I checked straightness, and amazingly, I don't even understand how something didn't give. But somehow the steel and the aluminum in these things didn't even bend. What? Okay. I actually just pushed the collar and insert back down, which I still cannot get off, but no damage to the shaft yet. Third impact. Still good. It blew my wrap off. Wow. Wow. Arrow did not break and it blew apart my wrap. Okay. I pulled it off this time. And after third impact, wow. Cleaned the air off a lot better. Just wanted to show a better look. Still spinning right. Here's the insert, which, I don't know. I'll have to check again once I get it glued on, but maybe it's straight, maybe not. I'm gonna use the Day 6 epoxy tonight and wait 24 hours for it to cure, and then we're gonna shoot the same arrow. Wow. I gotta say, that's an impressive arrow. So it's been 24 hours. The Day 6 epoxy has cured. I got the arrow cleaned up and re-squared the arrow to make sure that the concentric system was all in line again. You can see it's the same arrow here where I blew that wrap off yesterday. And here's how it spins. Really pretty good for being shot into a wall 3 times yesterday. It's time 4. Arrow looks good. Again. Wait. I was about to put this arrow and knock it on to my bow. I noticed the knock was gone. Then I noticed the arrow was broken. So the knock end failed. So I'll show you. Boom. Weird, right? Impact side still looks good. I don't think that would have affected penetration, but that's the 4 shot. 4 shots into cement. And we're not talking about a cinder block perched on a target. We're talking about a solid wall that doesn't budge. So I'm still really stoked on that. The end of it keeps spinning pretty well. Let's look at that real quick. There it is. You see that? Maybe there's a tiny wobble in it. Well, honestly, I'm really satisfied with these arrows. One other thing I didn't mention yesterday is that these arrows say 12.6 grains per inch, and after weighing them on their own, my arrows all came out to about 12.8 grains per inch. So that number's a little off, but we're only talking, you know, a few grains, maybe 5 actually, but all around I think these are an awesome arrow for the price. We're talking, I paid just under $200 for the full insert outsert system that screws together, makes it really easy to square up your arrows, make sure your broadheads fly right, and the fact that they're just probably the most durable arrow I've ever shot. I'm thinking that the Gold Tip Kinetic Chaos is very close to this arrow as far as durability in my tests, but the rear end failed, so here we are, Day 6.